Within the frame of sensing space, we are intrigued by the notion of abundance. The city as a complex fabric of infinite threads and layers, in time and space, is something we do not understand. We can isolate specific issues, which may allow us to approach some corresponding mechanics, but exactly this act of isolation is destructive and leaves us with an artificial understanding. While sensing and trying to make sense of Seebach, we found a discrepancy. The space oftentimes comes across artificial and sterile, as if suffering from a lack of abundance. But investigation reveals the opposite. Abundance is everywhere. As an experiment, we chose a random building in Seebach and started sensing. A relative without architectural background described our building like this. It's strict and not playful. It's not memorable. It just stands there. The staircase looks bright. And the building has two different colors, and I don't understand them. It's unfriendly. It's just an office building. The dormer windows on top of the building, they look kind of funny and they don't fit. It seems to be Bauhaus style, but somehow more modern. It looks like a police station. And now that I think about it, let me put it this way. You wouldn't think, "Whoa, that's nice, I would like to be in there." Some 20,000 years ago, a small river called Schürbach heaped up a lot of stones at the location we are looking at, which led to a small elevation. Thanks to this incline, Grünhaldenstraße has become an infamous spot for children to rush down in their soapbox cars. In the beginning of the 13th century, a small colony started to form on this elevation. A community of individual farmers, becoming over the centuries a village. Buildings slowly began to scatter around the area of Seebach. One of these buildings, a wooden farmhouse, stood exactly at the spot we are looking at today. At that time, the Grünhaldenstraße was called Street to the Castle. It points to the existence of a castle during the presence of the Romans in Seebach. We wonder if people once walked past our parcel, delivering food to the conquistors. On Sunday, August 18th, 1799, around 8,000 Russians entered Seebach and built a camp around our location, due to the ongoing Battle of Zurich. In this battle, the French defended the occupancy of the city against the Austrians and Russians. The conflict peaked in a second battle around 20 weeks later, causing the Russians to leave their camp. When Grünhaldenstraße was constructed from 1900 onwards, numerous military items such as sabers, horseshoes of military horses, and weapons were found. This was especially the case when an excavation pit was dug. It was quite common among older Seebachers to collect such trophies from the construction site in order to decorate their living rooms. At the time the block was built as it stands now, it was perceived as a symbol of modernism in Seebach. The right angles, the clearly recognizable grid in the facade, and an efficient floor plan distributed to that. Hand in hand with this typology, new living standards arose. Work and leisure were clearly separated. Hierarchical structures dominated construction as well as society. Men in suits worked their 9 to 5 in the upper levels, while on the ground floor less lucky men struggled in sweatshops. In 1952, the hardware store of E-Keller opened on the first floor of our building. It was in the workshop in the back, where he fiddled around with new key systems and invented the Käser lock in 1959. To this day, the Käser lock is one of the most widely used lock systems in the world. These locks are now produced and distributed in a factory in Richterswil. Another factory we want to talk about is the Thermec cigarette factory. Until the 70s, it was located next to our building. Many of the residents in Grünhaldestraße 6 worked there. The whole street was permeated with fresh tobacco scent. It smelled somehow spicy, a bit tart, mild and sweet, and even a bit like honey. A few years ago I walked through Grünhaldenstraße on a warm summer evening. I was listening and singing along to Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer on my headphones, when suddenly a small waterfall poured over my head. I was totally soaked. When I looked up, I saw this huge greyish building, and in the window above me I saw moving shadows and the suppressed giggling of children. Probably the craziest thing that we found out is that in the basement there's an infamous party venue. They host crazy fetish parties, which are only for members and the invited. It is said that these parties go on for over 24 hours, and there is a no alcohol policy. A resident told us about these orgies, which have also caused the police to turn up several times before. He proudly showed us the golden key that he wears on his necklace, which is the token to recognize a member. Architecture is the surface of the city and imposes itself on everybody. Yet, it speaks an exclusive language. Do we need to pin down the mechanics of the city to speak it? What is the city talking about? What could it be talking about? Who is it talking to? What is the role of architecture as a medium? And who gets to decide what should be expressed?